Hey guys, I am Yuri. Welcome back to my cosplay workshop for a final episode of Project Pickle Vic, which is Viktor Nikiforov from the Yuri on Ice Adolescence movie trailer. And that is the last time I will have to say that tongue twister, and it feels so good. Last time we survived sequin hell and finally assembled the entire costume, so there is no more pins pricking me every time I try the thing on, so that's amazing. This episode we are going all the way to the finish by lining the costume, making its flounce and frills, and also a little stripper tie and a waist belt to go with it, all the way to the finish. By the time this episode comes out, my 5-part Viktor tutorial booklet in a PDF form will be available on my store for purchase. So if you'd like some help in making this particular costume or even something similar, it is a 30+ page booklet that will walk you through from the very beginning in making a mock-up for a fitting costume for you up until the very end where you're decorating and making the entire thing super fabulous. So with that all said, let's get crafting! Now it's time to make the lining for Pickle Vic. The reason we line is because there is a whole heap of spare threads underneath. The seams are all really ugly on the underside, and the real fabric of this Pickle Vic costume is actually quite uncomfortable. So for comfort and for neatness, we should be lining this costume. And the lining process is really simple. All you have to do is use the pattern that you have drafted for your Pickle Vic costume and just make another copy of the exact same thing. So this is the sleeve and this is the front panel, and all I'm going to do is copy that exact costume one more time and sew it all together with a super comfortable fabric so that the inside of the costume is nice and when you're wearing it you're not dying. And ta-da! This is the lining all sewn together. So as you can see, it is the exact second copy of the actual costume, and it just actually looks like Rock Lee's tight suit because it's just this pickle color. I didn't actually take any videos of sewing this together because it's literally the same process as sewing the costume itself together. You're just making an exact copy. Once we've sewn the lining together, all we need to do is flip it inside out so that the nice part is facing the inside of the garment and the messy part faces the outside. So once you've flipped it inside out like this, it's ready to be pinned onto the outer garment. Ta-da! So I have pinned the lining to the inside of the garment and it looks like this. So make sure when you're pinning the lining to the inside of the garment that you have flipped the lining inside out so the nice side is touching your body and not the messy fray side with all the spare threads going everywhere, yeah? Flip it inside out before you pin it to the inside, so your garment will be super neat and comfortable and no spare threads going everywhere on your body when you wear it. Okay, yay! The end is really near. Once I'm happy with my garment, it is time to attach a zipper in the front. So with the zipper, I've just really carefully pinned the zipper in the middle of the lining layer and the top layer, just making a really nice sandwich there. Going as close to the edge of the zipper as possible so that it's nearly invisible when it zips up. And now it's time for some zipper porn. Yeah! Ta-da! Zipper is done, so now we can add all the frills and flounces that go onto the top. Next, what we're going to do is pattern the flounce. So if you don't know what the fuck a flounce is, it's just a frilly flap that goes down the garment. And I'm going to show you how I patterned this one right here. So here we are. This will be measurement A, the length of your flounce, aka the donut hole. And then here is measurement B, aka the width of the flounce. And that's all you need to know when you pattern your flounce onto a piece of fabric. You'll notice that the flounce on Pickle Vic goes from really wide up top to narrow down at the bottom. And how you would achieve that with your donut shape would be when you cut a slit into the donut, you will make a cut here as well, starting narrow on one side of that cut, and then draw a shape like a spiral snail shape until you reach the other side of the cut. So at the end you get like a snail going on, and that is how you get the flounce to go from wide to narrow. Now that we have an idea of how our flounce is going to look like and what measurements we want, it's time to do it onto a piece of patterning fabric. Take a trusty tape measure and measure how long you need your flounce to be. So this will be our donut hole measuring, and then take that same tape measure and measure how wide you need your flounce. So that would be measurement B, how thick your donut's gonna be. Now you can use these two measurements, 1, 2, to make your fabric donut. Ta-da! So here is my fabric donut snail. And let me just quickly show you how it physically works. When it's lying flat like this, it's a donut snail. But if you take the donut hole and stretch it into a straight line, it becomes a frill. And that is how flounces work. That's it. That's the tutorial. We're done. Once you've got your donut snail done, you can now go ahead and pin it straight onto your garment. Once it's a straight line, you'll notice that the frills will start happening. Now you can do this donut snail just by itself, or if you want some extra volume, all you need to do is to cut another donut snail but slightly smaller and attach it onto the top like this. Then you'll start getting some layering effects going on. Remember not to make the donut hole smaller, because that donut hole is the same measurement, it's the same length. So when you stretch that snail out into the straight line, then you get volume. Ta-da! So this is what the flounce looks like after it's been pinned onto the garment. For the sake of showing you guys the difference, I actually did one side as a single and another side as a double. Single, double. And it's up to you whether you want a single or a double. It's just depending on what kind of effect you want, how full you want your flounces to be, and just generally which look you like better. Go. Now we flip this inside out so that the stitches are on the inside. There we go. And then after we've flipped everything inside out, we can pin and top stitch it nice and flat like this. Yay! So this took so long. After we had top stitched the edge of each of the dick squids, we pinned together the bigger dick squid to the smaller dick squid, and then once it's straightened like this, it becomes the frills that is in the middle of Pickle Vic's costume. So now that this is like this, it's ready to be pinched to the actual costume and sewn down once and for all. Ta-da! So Pickle Vic is all done on the front. We did the flounces and also the zipper, so now we can wear it without getting pricked all over by pins. Now the final touch to this costume is all of the frilly bullshit that he has underneath his ass, on his neck, and on his wrist. So next I'm going to show you guys how to do a really nice box pleat. First things first, materials. So what I've got here is just a nice and fluffy white material. It's semi-transparent, so it's super nice. See, light would just pass through it. And I just got the cheapest stuff from the bargain bin because most of the frills on Pickle Vic is going to be underneath the skirt anyway, so the specific material really isn't as important as the flounce. Once we've got the material, I just cut a thin strip like this, fold it in half and pinned it along the line here. Then once we've pinned it, we can just noom it through the sewing machine. What I like to do with my box pleats is pinch a little bit of material, fold it back, and pin it like this. So that's the first little bit. And then I like to fold another little bit of material under, trying to make sure that what I folded over the first time and what I fold under the second time is the same amount of material. Pin it again. And then I just repeat. So take another little bit of material, pinch it through, like that. Just make sure that this fold here and the previous fold will touch. And then keep doing that, fold under, making sure the same amount of material here and here, pin it through. Now, I personally have a little bit of a superpower where I can get them the same every time without a ruler or any tools, and I can just eyeball it. And it always coincidentally ends up being 3.5 centimeters. 3.5 centimeters, like literally without any measurement at all. I know not everybody is gonna have that superpower. So at home, if you like, you can put a ruler here and guide yourself through as you go. Ta-da! Once you have finished pinning your frilly bullshit, it is time to run it through a machine. So what we're going to do here is just run a top stitch line right on the edge, and also just maybe 1/2 inch in. There we go, so the first line is done, and then we just got to do one more line that's just parallel to the first line. On the second line, you can start to remove the pins, or if you like to keep them in until the very end, you can. As you can tell, I like to remove them as I go. After you have done nooming, then you can remove the pins and reveal, ta-da! Just a really nice line of frilly bullshit. And now it's time to repeat till cry until you have an entire batch of that to attach to your garment. Ha! So all the frilly bullshit is done. We've got a batch of frilly bullshit now. All we gotta do now is to sandwich the frilly bullshit, aka box pleats, onto the lining and the garment. So make sure you sandwich it right in between the lining underneath and the top bit so it's nice and neat when you flip it inside out, just in case somebody wants to flip your seams. Other places that I have had to put all of the frilly bullshit is underneath his ass, underneath his skirt. Now, because I have already lined the garment, what I had to do was hand stitch the frilly bullshit onto the skirt. If you plan ahead a little bit more than I do, you could probably just machine sew it onto the lining before lining the garment, if you learn from my mistake, but I really just wanted to get the lining over and done with. That's why I did it in this order. My frilly bullshit went on last. Frilly bullshit on the neck, frilly bullshit on his chest, frilly bullshit under his ass, and frilly bullshit on his wrist. Ta-da! It's so nice. I love it so much. Yay! And his ass is full of frills. Yes, the repeato cry was definitely worth it. Now that the main garment with all the frilly bullshit done, all we have to do is add a stripper tie onto the neck and also his waist belt. Now, let's do the stripper tie and his waist belt. They're super simple. I actually just got a glittery black fabric and just sewn a belt, sewn a bow tie. I'll show you how. For the belt, what I did was really simple. I just got a glittery, fabulous fabric here, made 2 strips like this, sewn them together, and then got a fabulous lace, a sequin lace, similar to the one that I did for the white flames all around the costume, and sewn it onto the edges of both of those belts. Made it into a large strip, and now this is ready to go around the waist. For the stripper tie, I call it the stripper tie because it just looks like one of those stripper ties. I made several thin strips, and what I did was 1 loop here, another loop here, sewed that together, 1 strip here, 2 strips here, sewed that to the 2 loops, and then wrapped 1 piece around, hand stitched it at the back, and then made 1 strip to go around the neck, and then at the end this bit is going to velcro to this bit around the neck, and that's all done. Very, very, very simple stuff. Ta-da! Both pieces are done. Now we can just carefully hand stitch them onto where they need to be, and the costume will be finished. Okay, I have my tights on from skating, and it's time for the costume to get on me now. Ooh, zip-up on. I made sure to make everything one piece so that everything would be super easy to put on, whether it is for a photo shoot or for a convention when conventions come back. There we go. Ta-da! So that is the end of Pickle Vic. So he's not 100% complete. We're gonna rhinestone the fuck out of this. So I call it 100% complete now because I don't consider everything else that we're gonna do, like the rhinestoning and the blinging the fuck out of it. I don't actually count that as a part of the project because we can not bling it at all, or we can keep blinging it until the end of our lives, and that would just be, you know, counterproductive to just say, oh yeah, it's still going. So I'm gonna call it end of the project at this moment, but know that we will be blinging the crap out of this. And there it is, everybody. Project Pickle Vic has come to an end, at least for now, while we wait for a wig. We will be rhinestoning the fuck out of it, and you know, at the moment I'm just gonna call the project complete. This is a super special project for me because it is the first costume to be completely started and finished in my new home here in Canada. So I can't thank you guys all enough for your love and support during my move and during my settling down in this new environment. I'm super happy right now, and I have to give thanks to all of your support on Twitch and Patreon. The people to my left are the amazing patrons who are pledging more than $5 per month, and special thanks to the people on my right who are Isabel, Jonathan, Chad, Sylvia, Hello, Anna Mesa, Mary Dignan, Natalie, Carly, April, and Just Believe Cosplay, who are pledging more than $15 a month to support everything that I do here. Thank you so much for your love and support once again. I will be starting the next project right away, but before then, I'm gonna get some sleep, and I will see you soon. Stay crafty,